What's up? Pick Central, Wednesday edition. One day before Christmas, one day before Hanukkah, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, your wedding, Valentine's Day.
Possibly your funeral.
Yeah, possibly, if they lose to 16. Possibly. So all those excitements rolled into one. The tournament is the best. I think even the casual fan gets excited. Speaking of getting excited, Pick Central is brought to you by Omaha Steaks. Spring is in the air, and that can mean only one thing: spring grilling. The steak experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to spring into something delicious with their semi-annual sale. With 50% off site-wide, grab all your favorites like perfectly aged tender steaks, ocean-fresh seafood, juicy burgers, incredible air-chilled chicken, and decadent desserts. Plus, when you go to omahasteaks.com and use promo code PICKS, P-I-C-K-S, at checkout, you get an additional $30 off your order. That's stealing. It's a perfect way to get fired up and spring into something special. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com. Use code PICKS at checkout to take advantage of this deal. Omaha Steaks is ready to ship your order right away, and you're going to want to hurry because 50% off site-wide is only happening for a limited time, so don't miss your chance to save. Visit omahasteaks.com. Use code PICKS at checkout and get an additional $30 off when you shop their semi-annual sale today. Minimum order may be required. Ebo, isn't Omaha, first off, look at the steaks, Smitty. They gave us first. Delicious. The package is unbelievable. Gives it to you like this. I mean, this is pro stuff.
Airtight, baby.
Is Omaha Steaks involved in maybe a little competition as well, Ebo?
So I think what we're going to be doing this weekend is just straight up, no against the spread, just straight up picks. Round of 64 and 32. Whoever has the best record, straight up, will have a steak cooked for them live on air.
That's beautiful.
Monday.
That's beautiful.
Wait, by who?
I believe Large may be involved. Maybe Donnie's involved.
I trust Large.
Okay, that's
I trust Donnie cooking a steak.
Because you have Brandon Walker coming in with this charcoal happy horse shit and overcooking my steak. I'm not going to want that.
Yeah, no, we need somebody not in the competition. So what do you think? How many teams do you think you need to get into the Sweet 16 straight up to be the winner? Obviously, the first round matters too, but like.
So how many games you need to get?
Yeah,
right?
like I think you need
like 40.
No, I think you need like 11 out of your 16.
I was gonna say like 40 total wins.
40 total wins. Yeah, okay.
So, or maybe that you're saying like about like 30.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. All right, so like we talked about, tournament. Obviously, tournament heavy. We'll get the calls bumping in. You can load them up, Ebo. Give me that number again.
888-786-6522.
Yeah, 6522.
Not gonna lie, I got the chat up there saying have Frank cook the steak. I don't hate it.
I don't hate that either. I don't weirdly, I don't hate that either.
Or maybe one person, whoever comes in last, has Frank cook the steak. Whoever comes in first can have Donnie cook the steak.
Yeah, I don't hate that either.
But it's an Omaha steak, so it's still gonna be delicious.
Exactly, it will be delicious. Even Frank can't screw that up. We love you, Frank. Smitty, any big picture things like in the first 2 minutes outside of the NCAA tournament before we really dive into this?
We could talk a little NFL. Darius Slay apparently getting released by the Eagles. That's a little tough to swallow. You guys got Darren Waller. Congrats.
Need a receiver. But.
Yeah. I mean, when healthy, top 3 tight end. I mean, can't really argue with that. Is there anything else?
I don't know. I just think this Rodgers thing, I could see him retiring, weirdly. Like, I think there's a theory out there that he got all his buddies' bags, and he just might not care. Like, it's a final, like, take care of the offensive lineman when you win the MVP. I know they're not offensive linemen, they're receivers, whatever. I heard, like, the theory is he's getting all these guys' bags, and he's just fading into the oblivion. He's that weird of a guy. And it is kind of weird that the only team involved in you, like, really is the Jets. Do you really want to do that?
But, I mean, they were outside of Cobb, I guess, who's old as shit, they were kind of going to get signed anyway somewhere. I mean, between Lazard and probably even Mercedes Lewis as a backup somewhere. So when you say give them bags, yeah, that's great. But if you also retire, they're stuck with the fucking Jets. So
I meant more so that the only team really in on the Jets is Rodgers. I think that's a little bit of a red
but I mean, I don't hate that thinking that, like, hey, get every one of your buddies paid and then go into the sunset. But they were going to get paid regardless, and you're essentially just screwing them by keeping them with the Jets. without a quarterback.
Yeah, it makes sense. So
I don't know. We'll see.
Makes
We'll
sense.
see.
Baseball right around the corner. Are you dialed into this World Baseball Classic? I think this is the most irrelevant.
I'm not. I don't really care as long as all the Phillies stay healthy. Yeah, like go America. Sure, why not? But Ohtani's hitting bombs off of plumbers.
I know.
Like it's cool, but I don't really have much.
It sucks because if it was way before spring training, maybe guys get in more of a rhythm. I don't know. I don't really know how to do it, but
maybe they gotta hype up the nationalization of it. Like if it USA versus Canada hockey anytime.
Yes.
Like people are at bars watching it. USA Canada baseball. It's kind of like okay, whatever.
It makes sense. All right, so we'll go. We kind of went through a little bit yesterday. Try to go through game by game. Smitty, I know.
Oh, and rest in peace, Ezekiel Elliott.
What happened to him? Cut?
Oh yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're planning to make him a June cut.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know where he would go either, but he made his money. He was a star for a while. I don't.
Two-time. I didn't realize he was a two-time rushing leader in the NFL.
No, he was a beast, dude. Having him on fantasy teams, he was a beast. But you can't really reinvest massively in running backs. It's just not that kind of league.
Well, they were gonna franchise Pollard if they couldn't sign him.
Yeah.
Which, he was the best running back of the last 4 years for them.
For sure. All right. So last night, two pretty entertaining games. I have kind of a hard take on the play-ins. I think if you were going to miss any of the play-in games or any games during the tournament, like I'm locked in my house from Thursday to Sunday and then again Thursday to Sunday. Like that's inexcusable. We were looking at wedding venues and months and stuff. My wife, I was like, March is out. I'm telling you right now. Unless you want to get married on Wednesday afternoon, like March is out. And Wednesday afternoon is hard because I'm researching for Thursday. So that's going to be difficult to do. We're out. But if you were going to miss any of these two games, I kind of don't love the 16 play-in games. I think like if you're gonna go out to dinner or you're gonna sit and be like, all right, I'm gonna research everything, or you're gonna go, I don't know, to your buddy's house, like whatever. I think missing the first games in the 16s, you don't really need to see much. Now, the 11s, I think you do, because if you haven't seen how a team plays, and we've seen these play-in teams go to the Sweet 16, go to the Elite 8, I think you get a good vibe of knowing what's going on. On the flip side, you can get the weaknesses, like those Pitt kids. Did you watch that, Smitty? The two twins? Jerry was abusing them the whole way, and he was right. I mean,
it's a shame. It's a shame Michigan's not Michigan. It's a shame Mississippi State just blatantly they couldn't get it done. They just couldn't get it done.
They've always been horrific offense. I think they were. So I have them in bracket buskers. We'll get to bracket buskers in a minute. Buskers, great people, but I was actually rooting for Mississippi State against Iowa State because I think that's a little bit of a better match. A little bit of a better matchup. I don't love now how hot Pitt shot the ball. I think like I'm due for a downgrade, but Iowa State is just really bad. They don't do anything that really stands out to me. Bad offense. I don't love Iowa State, so I'm really live here with Pitt. But these play-in games, I think it should just be for the last 8 teams playing in. I don't see how you win your conference. And who did Corpus Christi beat last night? What was the name of that? Southeast Missouri State? SEMO. Yeah, okay. Those kids should get to get in the tournament. It shouldn't end in fucking Dayton.
I have a take. If you play in the play-in game as the 11 seed, you're not in the tournament.
No,
but if you play in the play-in as a 16 seed, you made the tournament.
Yes, but that's where it sucks.
Yes, but you kind of didn't, though. Like, you need to be playing on Thursday to live that dream.
And that's where it sucks. You should have a picture of you against I know it's probably not a picture a lot of people want to save right now, but you against Brandon Miller, who's going to be a lottery pick. Like the kids at Purdue. You against Edie. Like you should have, when you go up 2-0 on the scoreboard, your parents should be taking a picture of the scoreboard. Hey, they were up on Purdue. Like we were up on, like it shouldn't end in Dayton against another 16 seed. I've been saying it forever. I don't think it's fair. And I also think the format of it, like Southeast Missouri State was not the 68th team in the field. They qualified automatically. Clemson, or NC State, Mississippi State, Nevada, Carolina, all the teams in and out right on the bubble, those should be the ones fighting for those spots. So until they change that, I really get mad at it. I don't really like to watch it. But last night was pretty entertaining. Mississippi State with a good look at the end. Just couldn't get it done. Brutal spot for Brandon. He's saying he made the tournament. He didn't make the tournament.
Nah.
He didn't make the tournament.
He did not.
So, Smitty, you can kind of jump. We went through the lines, and obviously everybody's going to bet what they want to bet. Reading out the lines, I don't think is. I'll give you a big picture. No, go ahead.
It was a quick NIT point.
Yes.
Having the over last night in Michigan Toledo, that was a fun fucking game to watch.
That's a fun game.
That was just a good old fashioned fun right there.
That's
nice to see Michigan trying. Okay,
if you want,
that's it for the NIT.
Yeah,
sure. That's it for the year.
Greg Gard's blazer make them look like a movie, like he was an usher in a movie theater too. By the way, bad look. And I know people. I don't hate Greg Gard. It's just a bad look. I think if you want the opposite style tonight, is it North Texas plays gross. That game's going to be like in the 40s or 50s. They play gross. So the NIT moving out of the Garden too, I'm kind of pissed at. Play it in the Garden. Let these kids play in the Garden. It's fun when they're in the Garden. All right, big picture, Smitty. You can kind of chime in here. We can go through the lines. It is what it is, but everybody's going to give their own picks. The way I kind of broke this down is if you're looking at who can come out in the Final Four of each region, what's a sleeper, who does things well. I'm just going to kind of read it off, and you let me know maybe what I'm overlooking, what I'm thinking about. So in the South, in terms of, I don't want to beat people down with efficiencies. People get bored of it, but it's truth. You do things really well, and you need to be in the top 25 historically to do that. It's points per possession. It's how much you score. It's how well you play offense, how well you play defense, how well you play, how well you hold your opponents. It's a variety of different things. The only team, it's not me being a homer, the only team in the South who's top 25 in both is Alabama. So there's a clear-cut favorite there in terms of the elite team in the South. The mid, so like top 40, just a hair below, is Arizona, Creighton, and Maryland.
So here's my question about Arizona. You guys are obviously more well in tune with college basketball than I am, but all year you guys have said that Arizona, just good team, not going to be able to do it. Why? Especially in this bracket. Why?
Who? I said Arizona's not going to be able to do it?
It's been a consensus on Pick Central. They've been getting shoo-shooed a little bit throughout the year.
I think that's the Pac-12 bias. I would not shoo Arizona.
Okay.
They got Carissa. They got big guys in the middle. Tommy Lloyd had been around that Gonzaga program for a while. I think Arizona's legit. Arizona's to me is the scariest 2 seed. I didn't want Bama in their side.
Okay, I was making sure we didn't get a shoo because I know Brandon Walker and maybe Ev give him a shoo, but okay.
Yeah, and Arizona won. Did Arizona win the Maui, Ebo?
Sorry, can you repeat yourself?
I think Arizona won the Maui as well, which was in a loaded field.
I'll have to double check.
It's a long time ago, but Arizona's playing really well.
It's a very long time ago.
It is a long time ago, but that's how you know I'm dialed in. I know this shit from Thanksgiving. I know where I was when I watched it.
Well, do you think that stuff matters? Do you think it carries through?
I think playing 3 games in 3 days versus elite opponents, and you could rattle off who they beat. It's either San Diego State, Arkansas, or Creighton.
They defeated Creighton in the championship game.
And who was the semi? Arizona, Arkansas?
I'm looking it up.
It's all good. But beating, think about what you got to do. You got to go win a tough game in the first round.
So these were their 3 games. They beat Cincinnati, San Diego State, and Creighton.
So San Diego State's a 5, Creighton's a 6. And at the time, they were really top. These are top-tier teams. Beating these teams in a 3-day span shows me you have the makeup in March. Now, a lot of that can change as we go from November to March, but Arizona's definitely got the stones to do that. Is it Tabellis? How do you say that big kid's name? It's Tabellis?
The center?
Yeah.
I don't know. Tabellis.
Yeah, Tabellis. He's big. I like what Lloyd has done.
And then Ballo, right? Is the other big guy?
Yeah. So if you're looking at deep in this region.
Did you watch the Pac-12 championship game at all? Because they gave UCLA fits. They fouled out both their big men with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, and UCLA obviously down a defender. He was a third scoring option. UCLA is really good, and they got a great spot out west. But if you took, I don't think UCLA could beat Bama. I do think Arizona could beat Bama. So Arizona scares me.
What teams could beat Bama? List them off.
Well, all right. So then that's I guess we'll start with the big picture. Smitty, all year as a casual guy, you've heard it's open. 25 teams. I talked to Stanford Steve. I got 20 teams. That was before the bracket, so I'll cut him a little slack. How many teams do you really think can win it? Are we chopped down, Ebo? What do you? I really think we've chopped this list to I don't want to say a handful, but 10 to 12. Now, could I see 15 to 20 on a perfect draw? Yeah. But I think it's really cut down.
Well, go through them. Go through them right now.
All right. So truthfully, the only elite teams based off the efficiencies in each region is Bama, Houston, Texas, UCLA, and UConn. That's 5. So if you're going by the metrics, now the metrics move. If you're going a little bit and you open it up to the top 40, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You got 14. And of those, 2 of them in the top 40 are Memphis and FAU. Do you see Memphis and FAU cutting down the nets? I don't. Do you see Maryland? No. That cuts us to 11. Do you see Texas A&M? No. That's 10. Okay,
well, let me ask you this. There might be some research that need to be done. Has there been a team in the last 20 years outside of that top 40 list that has won? Did UConn do it with Kevin Ollie that one year?
UConn was the ugly stepsister that ran through and wasn't outside. Because
we know we've seen Final Fours, yes, we've seen a couple championships 100%. Here and there, but to win.
100%. I think you can definitely make the Final Four like Louisville. Louisville had a really good offense in 2013 and a bad defense. It carried them to them. I talk about them a lot. The West Virginia team runs through to the Elite Eight. People are talking about Miami this year. It's an elite offense. They play no defense. If you do something exceptional in this tournament and ride a hot wave, look at Villanova. Now, Villanova was an elite team in 2016. They shot the 3 out of their fucking minds. So that's like an elite skill. If you're good on one end of the ball, you can ride this wave all the way through. It's where you do one thing really bad on the flip side that also makes you kind of a red flag. So Miami's a red flag team to me. So the same thing. So in the South, Baylor, awful defense. Virginia, awful offense. Missouri, awful defense. So I think that the South, like it's Bama or Arizona if you're going to me there. And then again, like the sleepers, I think Creighton has sleeper capability, especially playing Alabama if they get in a run and gun type of game and it's high scoring. Creighton scares me.
Do they have their team back from last year? Pretty much.
Yes.
Okay. So they gave Kansas
with an addition. The kid Shireman is new. Okay. So they McDermott's been around, but he hasn't been terrific. If you of all those teams out of the South, you can't go chalk. You can't go 1-2. And you're looking for like the longest odds or what you're looking at, who would you say, hey, I'm going to pick the dark horse here in the South? Who do you like?
I mean, Creighton, veteran team. They made it, to the Sweet 16 last year?
No, second round, but gave Kansas fits.
Yeah, they covered. I remember that because I had Kansas. I mean, it was like my 7 or whatever. They covered. Creighton can score, so it's not a why not them, but they can get a run. They can get a run. I mean, you look at it. Do you think Charleston or Furman has a chance to get to the Sweet 16?
Absolutely. Honestly? I think either one of them is going to be both of them could be playing in that first round. 100%. I don't love San Diego State has an electric defense. They will play an awesome defense and not that great on offense. West Virginia has obviously a great coach. They're both pesky type of teams. But San Diego State having to go across the country to Orlando. Now, do I think Charleston's going to travel exceptionally well? Absolutely not. But I don't love San Diego State going across the country.
Charleston plus 450 to make the Sweet 16.
I like that. What about
San Diego
Furman?
State plus 150, Furman plus 750 on the Barstool Sports book.
I like that too. Virginia almost seems like the too sexy team to get upset in the first round, but man, their offense is so bad. It's just so bad. It really is. And then the deep teams there, obviously San Diego State, West Virginia, so it is what it is. I think it's Bama and Arizona in the Elite Eight. It almost seems a little too perfect, but those two are just a class above. I think they got to go there.
What happens if Bama just goes cold?
It's a very, very real possibility.
It is.
The good thing and the difference from last year and what they did in 2021 is they were an exceptional defense. You cannot take that away. They are an exceptional defensive team. So while if they can win a game low scoring, and they've done it, I think they only hit 2 threes against Arkansas when Arkansas gave them fits and still scored like 70, 73 points. They're gonna play really good defense, which is gonna keep them in the game. Last year, they didn't play any defense. They didn't have a lot of heart, and they shot horrifically from 3. That's a recipe for disaster. I do think they play elite defense. Elite defense. So I think that's where it goes. And, West Virginia and Maryland scare me in the second round. Two good coaches in Willard and Huggins, but it's in Birmingham. I think they packed the place out of a de facto home game. They got to get to the Sweet 16. And like I said, I think they'll catch a break in the Sweet 16 because I don't love Virginia with their athleticism, can't stay on the court. San Diego State might be a mismatch with smaller guards. And I do think it could be a 12 or a 13 in Sweet 16. I'm dead serious.
I have a question about an upset, a team that we have talked about just looking just lifeless over the past couple of months. Baylor has UC Santa Barbara. I don't think anyone's talking about that one. It's a sexy upset pick, but maybe something to look at.
Yeah, so I like UC Santa Barbara. I do think Baylor's guards offensively will give them a lot of problems. I think Baylor in the second round is where they could be really mismatched with a Creighton team who can score. And Creighton plays defense. I think Baylor goes out in the second round.
Okay.
But UC Santa Barbara, I picked them to win the other night in that conference championship. I don't think they can stay on the same court as Baylor. It's just too many options. Keontae George, Flagler, too many options. Chamo Chachua back. Midwest.
One quick note on the South. The fact that Furman is only plus 5.5 against a team that can't score.
Yeah, well, we talked
pretty good.
we talked about that yesterday. A lot of these lines, man, these lines you're not seeing the 34s anymore, even with the 1s and 16s. You're not seeing a lot of 10s. Like Kansas State against Montana is like 8. That's high. A lot of these games, like look at these games. They're pick'ems, they're 2s, they're 3s. They know it's going to come down to a possession. Most of these come down to a possession. They're just kind of putting it out there and there is a theory spreads don't matter. If you think a team's going to win, just pick them straight up. With Furman and Charleston. Like the spread might not come into play because it really hasn't in the past 2 years, or even going back maybe 3-4 years. Into the Midwest, I think the only two elite teams to me in terms of the efficiencies, just the numbers, is obviously Houston and Texas. I worry a little bit about Texas with a first-year coach, but they got some dudes. I watched them play here in Jimmy V. They with Beard, they've gotten, and even with the decline, or him leaving, the departure, I should say, they never got out of the top 12. Like, I think if you look at their week-to-week rankings, I don't think they ever got out of the top 12. Texas has been right there with Purdue, Bama, Houston in terms of elite, Kansas in terms of elite teams all year.
Do you think the coaching change had that much of a difference, or do you think they'd be a solid number one if their coach wasn't a scumbag?
Yeah, I think they could be a one if he could. Well, no. So it's weird. In the Big 12, you're going to just take losses in that league. It's just how it goes. So Texas's record, what do they have? 6 losses? Like however many they got in the Big 12, 3, 4, whatever it was. Like that was built in. That Big 12 is so loaded. You're going to get 3 losses and still be a really good team. Other than that, Texas has been lights out outside of everywhere else. I think they could have snuck into a 1, but I just think the Big 12 beats each. Like Bama feasted on a weak SEC, so their record gets inflated. Texas, I think, record-wise, when you stack them all up, they might be the best in terms of just on paper or on the court, most talented, but their record's going to suffer playing in the Big 12. The mid-level team here, top 40 in both, weirdly, is Texas A&M, and that's the only one. The deep ones inside the top 75 of both is Xavier, Indiana, and Auburn. Auburn's very interesting playing a home game in Birmingham, or de facto home game in Birmingham. I think Iowa should be really pissed about that. I think Houston should be really pissed about that. We think Sasser's going to play. Bruce Pearl's a pretty good tournament coach. Watched him get to a Final Four and got robbed in that, on that call. Indiana is weird to me because they've been really good all year. They got a phenomenal player in Jackson Davis, and the kid Hood Schifino's turning up. Not a lot of experience with Woodson. Kent State is live here. I really like this team. Their coach, Senderoff, was from Albany. They're live in that as well. So Indiana is one of those really like boom or bust type of teams. And I don't know if I want to get all in on them. Xavier, same thing. Great coach. Elite Eights. He was on the wiretaps, whatever it is.
Xavier always finds their way into the Sweet 16.
They do.
They just do.
They do.
Every year, no matter where they're ranked, too. No matter what.
And I think they'll be playing Pitt because Iowa State, or if they do play Iowa State stinks. I think Xavier chews them up. Now Xavier's defense is a worry. So again, we're talking elite teams here. You got Houston and Texas at the top, 1, 2, and a deep 7 who I think could go out in the first round. So in terms of mid-level. So you're really looking at the top of the top in Houston and Texas. I think you just go chalk. Who could you talk yourself into, Smitty, in terms of the wild card here of Xavier, Indiana, and Auburn. What we haven't mentioned in the red flags, Miami's got an awful defense, Iowa State's got an awful offense, and Iowa's got an awful defense.
Oh, I was just going to say, people are absolutely poo-pooing Miami this week.
I think the center's coming back, too.
Yeah, everyone's riding Drake's cock, literally. If Miami can sneak by Drake, and I don't even think they're going to sneak by him. I think they're going to win. They're going to be tough to beat. Those guards, man.
Yep.
Those guards are superstar college basketball players. You want to talk about guys who can just completely take over a tournament and be the face of March Madness? It's these two guys. It really is. If they can make the plays that they're able to make in the clutch or get into a foul shooting competition, Miami's going to fucking ride. I don't understand why people are kind of
Smitty, it's the defense. It's 138th on defense. You know,
I know, but you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it with those guys. They're stars.
And Indiana, I don't know if Indiana wants to play full on tempo with Miami too. So I think that could be a change of pace if Indiana, or you could be playing Kent State. Miami, to me, I agree with you, would be the dark horse. We talked about it, the offense, they can run it all the way through, but I think it's really Houston, Texas. I think it's Houston and Texas in a great, storyline type of matchup. Houston, all the history, obviously, Phi Slama Jama and Calvin Sampson and running through this. But Texas is Texas. And these two teams playing for a state battle would be an all-time Elite game, Elite Eight game, all-time. It's a halfway mark of the regions. Let me tell you about Busker's Irish Whiskey, and then we'll take calls real quick and bang out the last two regions. Smitty, I like your dark horses so far. If you're going dark horses, Creighton and Miami, I think, are the value. Ebo, if you want to pull up those odds to win the regions, I think those are definitely spicy.
I do like a black stallion.
Yes. The Busker Triple Cask Triple Smooth is an extraordinary blend with extraordinary smoothness. This new-to-world Irish whiskey is born out of a modern Ireland where the contemporary and bold meet the traditional. The Busker offers authenticity of a top-quality Irish whiskey while also bringing a disruptive approach to the industry with their modern and straightforward look and feel, which goes beyond the Irish whiskey category. Be bold or bust with the Busker and find the Busker in stores. Find the Busker in store. Triple Cask, Triple Smooth, Extraordinary Smoothness. Find the Busker in store. Let's take a call try to bang these out real quick and then go through the second regions. Brian in New York.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
I got one play I really love. You mentioned it earlier, the game. You mentioned the team. Texas A&M over Penn State. Penn State is never gets to the free throw line. Texas A&M gets to the free throw line better than anybody in the country, I believe. They also shoot it, I think, as they're probably a top 20 team. I don't love Penn State playing on Sunday, 4 games in 4 days. They play Thursday. I know it's a night game, but I think Texas A&M rolls Penn State. I know Penn State became maybe a darling for getting the Big Ten final, but I love Texas A&M in that game. I think they're -3. The other game, I know you guys just kind of hated on Drake, but Smitty, I think you spoke about Miami's free throw percentage. Nobody shoots the free throw better than Drake out of those two teams. I mean, Drake's probably top 20, 25. They also shoot the three incredibly well. If you go to Bartovic, every metric loves Drake, so I love Drake. Last one, Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga, if in the second round, I don't think there's a worse matchup for TCU than Gonzaga. TCU plays very, out there out of line ball. They don't really. I know they're a good defensive team, but sometimes they let people in the back door real easy. I think Gonzaga is going to take advantage of TCU big time in that second round. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and touching on that too, like Lampkin being away from the team, Timmy's versatile. Like now we don't have Lampkin covering Timmy. I really like Gonzaga. I'm very bullish on Gonzaga. We'll get to them in the West.
Good call, Brian. If anybody has a play for tomorrow or Friday that seems under the radar, we want to hear it.
Yes, we do.
Overs, unders,
storyline. I think you got to look at
storylines.
You got to look at storylines. So the best player on Kansas State, Easton, you're up with Colgate in 1 second. The best player on Kansas State, and I don't love how they've gone kind of downhill of where they started. They were top 10 in the beginning of the year. I think they're more towards the 20 line now, like 15, 20. But Kansas State, man, their best player, his Twitter handle is Mr. New York City. I talked to the kid, Marquise Noel, big-time shot guy. Reminds me of Jacob Pullen. Will pull from anywhere, from Harlem. The East Regional is in the Garden. Kentucky or Providence is a tough type of matchup. I think they'd be dying to get to the Garden. these kids in Kansas State could be really, and I've always said they're a high-level team. They're due for a March moment. Kansas State to me, and they don't do anything like exceptionally well, and they do turn the ball over a lot, but Kansas State is really, really intriguing. In the, what region is that? In the East, which is wide open. We'll get to next. Easton, you got to touch on Colgate. Are you higher on them than me? Because I don't love this matchup with Texas.
Colgate shoots the three extremely well. I know I've heard you talk about it in the past, Rico. Matt Langle and his squad, they've been there in the past. They've been there the past couple of years. I know Rodney Terry coached really well in the Big 12 tournament. I still think March Madness is just a little bit different. This Texas team is very, very good. I'm not going to discredit that. A really good team, but the spread's 14. When you shoot the three that well, you can hang in games forever. It doesn't matter. You can hang around forever if you just keep knocking the three down. 14 might be a little bit too much. I don't think Colgate's going to go win this thing, but it's an experienced team. All of them have been here before. I really think Colgate plus 14 is the play in this one.
Okay. I'll be honest. I didn't know it got that high. 14 is pretty high in a 215. I kind of like the over. I also think you could be holding Texas at 20, 21, even 24 at the 4-minute mark. And all right, we check it out. Let's just get safe. We got Texas A&M, big storyline game, and Colgate's playing right to the whistle, which we've seen in the tournament. Fire up some threes. I don't hate that. I like Colgate on the back door. I'd love Colgate to give Texas a fit, even though I picked Texas in the Final Four. I would love Colgate to be the 15 too.
I do too.
Yeah. So
appreciate it, Bosco.
Good call, man.
Guys, thank you very much.
Best three-point shooting percentage in the NCAA, correct?
No, there was another team who shoots the three. Really, really. Yeah, I think it's. I said yesterday somebody shoots close to 40% from three.
I thought they were 40.2%.
Okay, that's a little bit higher. Yeah, somebody shoots 39, and we said it yesterday, and I forget what it was.
Colgate, Toledo, Xavier, Michigan State, Utah State, top 5.
Utah State. That's what it was. Utah State. Thank you. Yeah,
it's
Utah
a shame.
State.
It's a damn shame they didn't just switch like Vermont and Colgate. Why would you just not give Colgate a shot?
Yeah.
At a 15,
or
put them at 14.
They don't deserve a 14. They won the conference 4 years in a row. I know you don't go year after year, but like Kennesaw State, like come on, it is what it is. We'll rip through these real quick. DeCucci in Toronto, what do you got?
What's going on, Rico? First and foremost, I want to say I'm going to be very bummed to not see you in Ohio over the next couple of days. You're always a treat to see on the television with Dave, and he's going to miss you too. At the end of the day, we all know it to be true. I got. We're going to go to the NIT tonight. I like Central Florida to get it done against Florida. Obviously, interstate rivalry there. You gotta believe the smaller school is going to be a little bit more motivated. And for those of us who watched that tournament game where they lost a very close game to Memphis, Memphis is a team that's getting some love in the big dance. I think that UCF is a little bit underrated. Florida on the other side, the definition of average, 16 and 16 on the season overall. The loss of Castleton really hurt them. I just don't think they're going to have the size to deal with the big man on the front line for UCF. And lastly, they just have some great guards, some veteran guards, or senior guards in the backcourt, and I think that they're going to be able to get it done on the money line tonight. I like Central Florida against Florida.
Yeah, the key with the NIT is who's motivated and who's not. Ebo, you can hold Jack, Chris, and Mark if they want to stay till the end of the show. I'm going to bang out these bottom ones. But, yeah, it's motivated against unmotivated in the NIT. So that's the way I would go. Mark and Philly, what do you got?
Yo, Rico and Smitty, my guys, it's been too long. Finally, happy to talk to you guys on the best week of the sports calendar. I've got 2 picks for you, one late night Friday and one late night Thursday, one early on Friday. Unfortunately, Rico, I hate to say it, but I'm going with State Penn plus 3.5 against Texas A&M. They're 10-7 against the spread as a dog, but they've covered their last 8 games as an underdog. A lot is being made about how good Texas A&M has been as of late and how hot they've been as of late. Penn State gave Purdue a heck of a lot better game in the conference title game than A&M did to Alabama. I do think Alabama's better than Purdue, but I don't think enough is being made about how hot Penn State is coming into this tournament. I love the way Jalen Pickett plays. He's got a little Jalen Brunson to his game. I think he could go on a bit of a run and become a bit of a household name, even if you just win this game. I think they cover and they win. My Friday bet that I like, it's a little off the board, but I like VCU's team total over 58.5. They've scored 68-plus in 8 straight games, let alone 60. 26 of their 29 games this year, they've scored 60-plus, and in 29 of their 29 of their last 34, they've scored 60-plus. I get it. St. Mary's has a good defense. They've still given up 64-plus in 6 of their last 8 games. I initially liked it at over 122.5, but I like the VCU team total here.
I like that. All right, thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
So the weird thing is Shrewsbury is probably out in Happy Valley. Like, do you want a guy who might have his foot out the door? We saw it last year with Willard. They got waxed once the word starts to heat up about the negotiations. They got waxed by TCU. Seton Hall did, is who I'm referring to. Texas A&M's got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, obviously. They're saying there's a theory out there the committee fucked them. Buzz was very vocal about not getting in last year. He wanted to stick it to people. He went to the NIT final last year. Like, I don't know. That's a very, very weird game. It's a stay away to me because it truly is a coin flip. So I really have no opinion. If you have a strong opinion one way or the other, God bless you, because I truly think it's a coin flip. Let's do Drew, and then we're going to open up the East. Drew, what do you got?
Hey, what's up, guys? Good to call in. Just have a quick question about you guys and your opinions about the game last night. And it's a little three-parter. Do you think Mississippi State lost that game because their coach is the spawn of Ted Cruz and Gary B? Not shitting you. Look at a picture of him if you can't unsee it. Do you think that Mississippi State just couldn't handle the power of Pitt? Or do you think it's Brandon Walker saying that Mississippi State was in the tournament and that at Juju? Yeah,
I also think I was sitting with Titus, obviously, in the stream, and Titus is like, when do you play Friday? And Brandon answered it. Now, he probably got tricked because it was emotion, but you can't answer that question. You can't say, because he goes like, when do you play when you win? So I also think, bottom line, they just couldn't hit shot. They got cold. They're not an offensive team. They got that guy with the long sleeves is fucking horrific. They got some bad calls against them. So I think, yeah, it's a variety of different things.
Sorry, I was screening calls. Did someone say Ted Cruz?
Yeah, he looked like Ted Cruz.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz and Gary V.
Yeah, and Gary V. That's what he said. All right, thanks, Drew.
Are you a Ted Cruz supporter or a hater? Or
what do you got, Zah? You like Ted Cruz?
Zach, you're up.
All right. No, hold on. All right, so obviously all these wagers should be placed responsibly. They should be placed at the Barstool Sportsbook. There's a Tourney $100 sign-up offer. New users sign up for the Barstool Sportsbook using code Tourney. That's TOURNEY. Place a $10 plus cash wager on any NCAA basketball tournament bet available. Win or lose, get $100 in Sportsbook bonus cash. See app for terms and details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, GAMBLER, for help. The East, Smitty, this is where it really, really gets interesting. Okay. Of those top teams who do things exceptionally on both ends of the floor, top 25, how many of those teams are in the East region? 0.
Okay.
Neither one in the top 25. Purdue is in the is top 40. Memphis and FAU are the only teams top 40 of both. Expanding out to the top 75, which is what I consider deep. Marquette, 2 seed. Kansas State, 3 seed. Tennessee, bad offense, 4 seed. Duke, 5 seed. Michigan State, 7 seed. You got Kentucky as a 6. They got a red flag in terms of their defense. I know everybody loves to say it. The East is wide open. Wide open. I really don't know. Like, Purdue, it almost seems like they got to get there. You've watched Baylor break through. You watch Virginia break through. You have Edey. I know people are kind of exposing the guards. Painter's got a lot of experience in a tournament where not a lot of coaches have experience. Purdue has to kind of figure out a way to get this done. Shaka in Marquette. Again, like I said, don't fit all the efficiencies. Guy's been to 1 second weekend. It was his first one at VCU. That's it. He was at Texas. He couldn't get it done. He was at Texas when they lost to Abilene Christian. Like, Shaka's got a lot of pressure on his plate here. Kansas State, very Jekyll and Hyde. You got a deep Kentucky team with everybody loves to fall in love with them. You got Cooley as a deep 11. You got a Tennessee team that I kind of think is weirdly falling under the radar, even though I hate them on offense. I think you got an overrated Duke team that everyone's falling in love with. One of those teams, as long as they get out of the first round, both of them, has to go to the Sweet 16. So Tennessee, like, all they got to do is, in my opinion, is beat an overrated Duke team if they get past Louisiana. And you're sitting on Tennessee against a Purdue team who we've seen can lay eggs in the Sweet 16. It's wide open. It's wide open. I've said it. It's wide open.
You didn't even mention Tom Izzo, who always finds a way.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't even mention Tom Izzo.
He just finds a way.
I didn't mention Tom Izzo. Against, again, Shaka with a lot of pressure on him. Izzo's going to be coaching loose.
What about the best team in the tournament that's in that region?
Who's the best team in the tournament?
USC.
Yeah, you could talk me into USC as a 10.
I'm gonna be talking into USC until they lose.
So read off the odds there to win the region in the East, because I think if you're one of those guys who just loves playing plus signs, it sprinkles here. I think you could talk you into anybody.
All right, so you got Purdue plus 250, Marquette 4-1, Tennessee 5-1, Duke 7-1, Kansas State 9-1, Kentucky 9-1, Memphis 15-1, Michigan State 15-1, and then everyone else is 30-1 or more.
What's FAU?
30-1.
Okay, so Kansas State, they jumped out at what? 9-1.
Yeah.
Deeper than a 4. Deeper than you get what I'm saying about this Jekyll and Hyde type of Kansas State team.
Yeah, but Kentucky's also 9-1. Calipari's saying, hey, look, you want to get drafted, now's the time you shine.
Yeah, I know. Cooley, they were ranked. This is the East region is fascinating. I really don't know what to make of it. I'm going to go with the chalk, which I already hate, because there is a stat also. I was talking to Big T about it. If you're a 1 or a 2 seed that gets to a 1 or 2 seed after not being ranked in the preseason rankings, I don't think any of them go to the Final Four or have struggled to go to the Sweet 16, Ebo.
You were saying Marquette and Purdue fall into that?
Yeah, they don't go to the Final Four, right?
I don't know the exact stat.
It's been around for a while. I know if you were unranked and got to a 1, only one team in like 21 tries got to the Final Four. So there's a lot of pressure here going against Marquette. There's a lot of pressure going against Purdue. It's a weird region to me. I think everyone's falling in love with Duke. I don't want to be on the bandwagon of a team who won a weak conference and everyone's kind of falling in love with. I don't know if that's where I want to go with Duke.
Look, people are falling in love with Duke for a reason. Their offense is absolutely fucking exploded. Like, they can play defense. They have all year. But if you're coming out and you're running and gunning with been shooting lights out like the way they did against Pitt and the rest of the ACC tournament, like, they can be good.
Yeah.
They can have a shot.
They do want to play at a slow tempo too, which I think Tennessee, again, that fits there, grind it out. Just, throw a weird defense at them.
Hey, don't throw shade on our Raging Cajuns.
Listen, Raging Cajuns are probably...
You better believe it.
Smitty's right. They're going to have the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When we played them, we beat them at home, but he was a problem. He fouled out with like 8 minutes to go, but that center is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. He's a transfer from Tennessee. He averages 19 points a game.
I think it's Arizona.
His name is Jordan Brown. Come on. He was a Sixth Man of the Year for the Pac-12. Now he's playing for Raging Cajuns.
Transfer.
Don't worry about
from
Rico.
Arizona. Yeah, no, listen, I don't like Tennessee, and I'm probably going to play Louisiana against the points. But it's one of those, like, if they do win, and I wrote, I don't want to write them off now, because if they win and they're still alive and they don't get eliminated, they could be sneaking up on people. The East is really, really weird. I also think Memphis and FAU are dangerous 8-9s to possibly get to the Sweet 16 here.
Also, for that game, Tennessee's defense obviously a lot better than its offense. Team can't score that well. 11 points. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with you.
lot of
the
points.
East, I can't make anything of it. I can't make anything of the East. If you're talking me into a 9-1 ticket, a 10-1 ticket, a 15-1 ticket to win that region, God bless you, because I think it is truly wide open. The West. The 2 elite teams out there we talked about, UCLA and UConn. UConn has a win over Alabama in the Phil Knight. They had a slump in the Big East, which you're going to get in conference, but UConn has been top tier most of the year. Tough loss in the Big East tournament. The Big East tournament was loaded. Hurley got a lot of pressure on him with Pitino in that first round. Hurley hasn't been to a second weekend. A lot of pressure on him. A lot of these coaches haven't had a lot of success in this tournament. It's a new age. It's a new world. It's very bizarre. Kansas in the top 40 and St. Mary's in the top 40 of both. I think St. Mary's is not being talked about enough. I think St. Mary's is kind of a dark horse in this region. Beat Gonzaga, who I love. The deep teams out of this region in the West, TCU, Arkansas, and Illinois. And then the red flags is Gonzaga because of their defense and Northwestern because of their offense. I'm in love with Gonzaga. I really do like Gonzaga's draw here. I know that their defense has been struggling. They've been giving up a lot of points. Drew Timmy's really good. I like Mark Few. A little bit under the radar now as a 3.
Little bit.
Southward.
I mean,
or however the hell you say his name.
Every year they're coming in with 1 loss or undefeated and they're the talk of the town. It was this year they finally do it. This year they are under the radar and they might be able to do it. But
No,
for as
go ahead.
chalk as you said, the East was. I think the West is pure chalk. Pure chalk.
You think it's pure chalk?
I think it's 1-2 in the Elite Eight, maybe 1-3.
I could see. Well, that's what I'm going back to. If people say it's a big, wide open tournament, I think we're going to get some upsets and people sneak into the Sweet 16 as an 11. Yeah, I do really think it's top tier. Other than the East, the East could be 8-9 or 8-7 in the final. The East is crazy, but in the South, you're saying like, hey, with your life on the line, who are you picking? It's Bama or Arizona in the South. Like no bones about it. In the Midwest, it's probably Houston and Texas. In the West, it's probably Kansas, UCLA, and Gonzaga. Or UConn if you really want to. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all chalk in terms of who. And I think a majority of people don't look to get cute. Like, you have to pick this correct. A lot of people are going to go chalk. The chalk is way above what else have we seen. The one thing I want to touch on in Gonzaga, they get a lot of slack of, they don't play anybody in their schedule. A couple of years ago when they were in that championship game, they had beaten Iowa, Virginia, and those teams in that tournament in 2021 kind of fell down. Like Iowa, as it turned out, wasn't that great. Virginia lost in the first round. Gonzaga's non-conference schedule, where they have taken some losses, it holds up really well here. Even taking the losses. They've played a loaded schedule. Michigan State, Texas, who they lost to, beat Kentucky, lost to Purdue, beat Xavier, lost to Baylor by a point, beat Kent State, beat Alabama. Like, where this non-conference might be the best in the country. Find me a better non-conference resume than that. I don't care that they took a couple of losses. I like that I've seen this Gonzaga team play with the best of the best and have a winning record. Maybe that's just me. I think like in the years, like you can't control how a team's going to do when you schedule it 5 years in advance. But Iowa a couple of years ago, they did hold a 2 seed, but they weren't like real. They didn't play defense. Virginia was bad. This Gonzaga schedule is full on legit.
They got a shot.
Yeah, and UCLA doesn't have a lot of those wins outside of a weak Pac-12. So, again, the committee knows what they're doing. That's a really fascinating Sweet 16 type of matchup with Gonzaga and UCLA, as long as the two of them get there. At the top, I loved Kansas all year, 17 wins. I mean, they got more wins. Kansas has 17 quad 1 wins. Iowa has a pretty good resume playing in a good league. Iowa's got 18 wins total. Penn State has what? 19 wins total, whatever it is. Like, getting into the tournament is 20 wins is usually the threshold. Kansas has 17. What are you laughing at, Sal? I almost slipped up.
That's literally the first time I've ever heard you almost slipped up. You almost
slipped up. That's how you know you're losing a step. Getting old in age. Kansas has 17 quad 1 wins. Now, Kansas looked like shit against Texas, but Texas is really good. So do we just look at that as, hey, that's a true Elite Eight game? Because Kansas is a 1 and Texas is a 2. So should we fault them of the shots weren't going in, bad second half, and they lose an Elite Eight game? Are we downgrading Kansas a little too much here, Smitty, based on what you've seen Kansas do all year?
Hey, look, it's tough to go back to back. I mean, yeah, Billy Donovan did it. When was the last time before him that happened?
91, 92.
Yeah, with Duke.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's going to be extremely difficult because they aren't a clear-cut number 1 powerhouse team, but they are in the Big 12. They are amongst the best teams there. And in this bracket, like I just don't see them going down before the Sweet 16.
Right.
But if they face UConn or like a hot ass St. Mary's or even VCU, like, okay, I definitely see them just having their way into the Elite Eight, and then okay, are you who you want to be and get it done and possibly have a chance to go back to back? They can do it, but
this tournament's a bitch in terms of the breaks. And I did think, like, Marty was very critical of it. He's like, oh, well, Kansas is playing, they got a break here, and they're playing Miami. What was Miami, a 7 or a 10 last year in the Elite Eight? Kansas had a weak Providence in the Sweet 16. Like, Kansas got some breaks along the way in terms of who they played in the Elite Eight. Villanova lost a player, obviously, in that Final Four game. Like, Kansas definitely got some breaks. Do I think Kansas was the best team last year? Yes, but they also got some breaks. So it's the chicken and the egg there. Kansas gets some breaks again here, and St. Mary's goes out, and VCU is all of a sudden sitting in the Sweet 16. I think it's hard to say you're going to get all the bounces your way 2 years in a row in a tournament where this could be a bitch. But if Kansas gets the breaks, man, they're right there. We can't write them off, and it's weird because we're kind of writing off the 1 seed and the defending champ and a great coach and phenomenal players. Like Jalen Wilson is fucking unbelievable. Grady Dick, unbelievable. Kid McCullough, unbelievable. Kansas might have the most talent of any of the teams in the country, like pound for pound. A weak center. If Kansas gets the breaks, again, look for, like, that's kind of what they're hoping for. It seems like we're writing off Kansas a little bit. I think UConn is really tough too. With Sonogo, the other 7-footer, the kid whose name I always forget, the guards, Hurley being fired up, Hurley being like in a fuck you mentality of you're putting me in Albany against Rick Pitino. I do think UConn can kind of coast in that game. I don't think the Mac's going to be able to hold. But yeah, it's kind of really chalk here. If you're going deep or you're going like red flag, are you talking yourself into TCU? Are you buying the Arkansas hype? You buying the Illinois hype who scrimmaged Kansas? Which way? What do you think?
Not really.
I
mean, that game's a toss-up as it is. I guess I'd lean Illinois a little bit because I lean Big Ten in these situations for whatever reason. But I don't see either of them beating Kansas. I just don't. Which means they'll probably beat Kansas.
Yeah. Rico, you want to rapid fire some props really quick?
Yes.
All right, so we have a lot of tournament specials in Barstool Sports. But total ACC teams to advance to the round of 32, over, under 2.5. Over is -230.
Over, under 2.5 to get to the second round?
Yes, correct, to win their first round matchup.
What's no?
Plus 175 for under 2.5.
So you got Duke in a tough spot. You got Miami in a tough game. You got Virginia in a tough game. Who else am I missing? Oh, Pitt. 2.5?
2.5.
You think all 3 of those coin flips could go the ACC way?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'd probably play the plus 175. Give me another one. I like these.
Total Big 12 teams to advance to the round of 32. Over 5, under 5. Over is -143.
That doesn't seem that juicy. Kansas, Baylor seems safe to me. Texas seems safe to me. Kansas State seems kind of safe to me against Montana State. I don't love Iowa State. West Virginia is a toss-up, so we're sitting either 5-1 or 4-2. What else? It's 5.5.
It's 5 flat.
5 flat.
Total Big 10 teams to advance, over under 4.5, -125 for the over.
Purdue. I don't like Indiana. I mean, Indiana's hit or miss.
Penn State, Maryland.
2 coin flips.
Illinois.
Michigan State coin flip. Illinois coin flip. I don't like that. What's the plus of no?
Even money.
How many teams?
4.5.
I would say under.
All right, last one. Total SEC teams to advance, over under is 4.5. Over -148. Under plus 112.
All right, so you got Bama. You got Tennessee in a weird one. You got A&M in a coin flip.
Missouri.
No, I'm looking like locks. Missouri, no. At 4.5 to the second round?
Yep.
What's the no?
No, under 4.5 plus 112.
Give me that. What am I missing, Smitty? Who else am I missing out of the SEC?
I'm looking. I don't see it. Auburn.
Okay, Auburn in a coin flip. But where, like, what are your lot? Even if you go 2-0 in those coin flips, you're sitting on 3. Mm. So I'll give you A&M, I'll give you Auburn, I'll give you Bama. What else? Mm. Right? I don't know. I go under there. Smitty, give us the pick.
Tennessee, I guess.
Tennessee too. Sorry, yeah. in a coin flip, but it's under 4.5.
Yeah, I mean you have Kentucky. So you have probably
Kentucky. I forgot. Okay. Kentucky.
So you have
and Tennessee. I'll ride.
Yeah.
So I die. They're 11-point favorites.
Makes sense.
So it's
lost Mississippi State. So it probably would have been a higher line.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Smitty, give us a pick, and I'm gonna bang out the Colts to end the show. I'm just on FDU. I'm on FDU tonight. I know I say don't watch the 16 games if you're gonna miss the 2 games, but I'm on FDU here. I like them to win.
Yeah, and we got today Cap Sabres over 7, Avs Maple Leafs under 6.5, Nevada plus 2.5. Patrick Beverley, our guy, over 3.5 assists, plus 123. By the way, we got Bet with Smitty coming out. Embiid 30 points, Harden over 8 assists. Sixers money lines at the Cavs. That's being priced right now, and we also got tennis, baby. We got tennis action. Cameron Norrie, our guy, the British master, minus 167 money line, and Fokina plus 4.5 games. Don't worry about it.
Aaron in New Jersey, you got like 30 seconds on Miami. Go ahead.
If you like Miami to go far like I do, they're only -2 against Drake. It is the shortest line for any of the 5-12 games, but Drake, the only Power 5 team they've played
this season is Mississippi State. They did beat them, but Mississippi State's offense stinks. So Drake really hasn't seen an offense that can do what Miami can, so I like Miami -2.
I think the center's playing, too. He was warming up. There's a video. Jack in Ohio.
I think two teams I think you talked about earlier, the East, Memphis and Providence. I think Providence, they're battle tested in the Big East. I think they're going to give Kentucky a run for their money. Memphis, Kendrick Davis, he is a certified baller, and I think he's going to be a huge issue for Purdue.
All right, and their guards, Purdue's guards have been the weakness. Chris, 30 seconds.
What's up? I assume you're not quite sure what you're going to do with Utah State, Missouri. I know that everyone's kind of
hammering Utah State.
On that one.
I like Utah State.
Me too. Love Utah State. And my kind of an emotional thing here, Ryan Odom. He coached UMBC into the first 16 seed to beat Virginia. He's coaching at Utah State. I love Utah State.
Yeah, I do as well, but the thing, and I also like Boise, but getting behind these Mountain West teams, I'm going to be really scared of. Mark in South Carolina, end the show. Smitty, I think this was a great show.
Great show.
Mark, South Carolina, end us.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you. What am I missing on the Pac-12? I think Michigan State beats USC, and I think if Arizona and UCLA make it around 2, I think they run into 2 tough Utah State and Boise State teams, but everyone's got them in their Final Four. What am I missing?
You're missing that the Mountain West has been horrific in these tournaments. So we're going to find out. Can they buck the trend? I think the Mountain West is due for some wins. I don't know about the round of 16. Thanks, Mark. Ebo, great show. Za, great show. Happy to provide a political laugh. Smitty,
let's win some games
thank
tomorrow.
you. Yak up next, and let's win some games
10 a.m. tomorrow, right?
Yeah, same thing tomorrow. Same thing. We'll get gassed up for the games, maybe some line movements.
11 a.m.
11 a.m.
What did I say?
No, Smitty said 10. It's 11.
Yeah, Smitty's
11 a.m. tomorrow, Friday.
11 a.m. tomorrow on Friday. I'll see you there.